Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. Are you ready?
Ready for what?
To level up.
Okay, girl, let's get started.
Pep it. Come on, Alysha, pep it.
Friends, welcome to another podcast of Level Up with Raman and Alysha.
Hi, everyone. On today's episode, we'll be talking about reading, why reading is important, why you should continue to read, and we'll talk about different types of reading. And then we'll talk about, what Alysha and I do individually on our everyday lives, with our busy lives, to time find for reading as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think...
Do, 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 do.
Okay, so yeah, we're totally doing... Yeah, so we're talking about reading because when we were in school, if you guys remember, you'd be in grade 8 English class and you were always forced to read some sort of book. Like, I remember the book I think I was forced to read was like Pigs, Lord of the Flies or something.
Yeah, we all read Honestly, I hated reading in school. I don't
Me
know about you.
too. I hated reading because someone was telling me to read, but I genuinely enjoyed on the summers reading like my mom's old books in my grandma's basement.
You
Like
mentioned
Judy
that
Blume.
before.
Yeah, so like I grew up around a lot of readers. Like all my aunts and uncles were readers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my mom was always reading some business journal or something. Every time we were on vacation or something, she always had her, her magazine. Or my mom's the type who will literally finish a book in a day or two. She's like one who will finish it ASAP. She'll
Mm-hmm.
kill it because she can't wait that long. So all her life she read, and she was into Stephen King and then also like Judy Blume and stuff. And then my other aunts and uncles were into different things. So I did have like a good type of like
Structure.
genre. Yeah, structure and genre to choose from, because I had different things to always read. As I grew up over time, I think I started to enjoy a lot more of escaping reality. And that's when I got into more like Emily Giffin, Leanna Morante, and those kind of things. And those are the ones that really started to make me get into like some thrillers, some rom-coms, and those kind of things. So I like that, but don't get me wrong, I do love biographies as well. I love like reading about like Michelle Obama was the latest one I read, and I loved that. I didn't even read that, I listened to that one, and it was her voice, and that's why I listened to it. It was
Oh,
so
nice.
well done.
A lot of people, are doing it with their own voices now, so which is great. I think, you're right. A lot of people do read to kind of get an escape from reality. And, I'm not into too much of like the fantasy books and like the nonfiction, but I know that people are really into like escaping reality, and kind of it's a way to travel to different worlds and different eras without actually physically leaving. And I like that with reading, you're using your own imagination. You know how they always say, like, people, I don't know, every time they make a movie out of a book, you always hear like, oh, the book was so much better. And I think it's because people are creating their own imagination and their own visual for how everything should be. And then the movie comes out and you're like, oh, well, this is not how I pictured it in my head. So a lot of people do get let down. Even like with like the Harry Potter books and so many books like that I hear. But I definitely was not a reader in school. And yeah, maybe it was because we were forced to read like Lord of the Flies and like all those things. So in school, if there was a movie, I would
Yeah.
definitely watch the movie. I was like that person that would definitely want to like skip reading the book. But I did not have very well, my parents always read like a lot of Punjabi books and stuff like that. And they tried to get me to read them, but I wasn't the greatest at that.
Yeah.
And then throughout school, if there was a movie available, I'd be like, there were so many, like even like the books that we were told to read. It's like, I think I chose them based on like, is there a movie for this? But hey, none of the teachers found out. I still did my assignment properly. um, but I kind of got like into reading a lot more. I would say the last 5 years. I think like the last like before that I just was not into it. Like
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people want to be readers, but you're just naturally not, but like you're just not into it. And I feel like I was that person, and I was like, oh, I want to be a reader, but like that was one goal I would never accomplish.
So can I ask
um
you, what do you do when you go on vacation, when you're laying there on the beach?
I chill. Like I literally just chill and relax. But it was not until maybe like 3 years ago is probably when I started reading like super consistently, and it was because of Audibles. And
Right.
honestly, it really did change my life. And it was at one of those town hall meetings, and it was like a director, like the head of, I don't know, the whole company. And he's the one who told, that's where I learned it from. He was like, I have such a busy life. I'm so on the go, go, go. I don't have time to sit down. But then you drive, you clean, wash the dishes, you go for a walk. So you have all these opportunities that you could be reading, but you're doing stuff. But what you could do is listen. So
Yeah.
Audibles is so popular. And I thought about that. I'm like, well, I love listening to podcasts. I love listening to things. I would like go on YouTube and like listen to people speak. So I'm like, let me give this a try. Honestly, guys, life changer. If
It
you
is.
have a busy schedule and you want to read, but you're like, I literally don't have
Or
time
you
to read.
commute on a long drive.
On a It's that people who commute on a 1 hour drive or like a 1 hour commute, that's 1 hour a day of reading that you could get versus not getting. And that's how I see it. It's like you could either choose the best method that fits for you or you could not do it at all. And for me, Audibles was like a super blessing. And now almost every book is on Audible.
Yes.
And I would say like I've only read one book that wasn't the author reading it themselves, but
Okay.
majority, and then and then I had to like listen to like what did the author actually sound like, and I'm like, okay, well, thank God it wasn't him reading it, because he had like a heavy Australian accent. But a lot of authors are reading their own books on Audible, so it's like you get that experience, and my life, like when do I have time to sit down?
You don't.
And it was not something, but you know what? There's so many different situations when I listen to it. I listen to it when I drive. Every time I have like my 45-minute drive to Tim's, like I listen to it there. Listen, you know me, I never listen to music in the car. So
Yeah.
fun fact about me, I drive in a silent car most of the time. So I listen to
Usually.
Audibles. When I go for a walk, I listen to the book. When I am cleaning sometimes even when I'm working. Like if I'm doing one of those tasks that don't really require brain power, I just put it on and I listen to it. And I feel like I've never gotten through so many books before, and it's all thanks to Audibles. So if you have a busy schedule, I highly recommend trying it out. And I hear people say all the time, well, it's not the same as opening a book and reading it. But the way I see it is, would you rather read or would you rather not read at all? That's how I
That's
see
the
it.
thing. Yeah, and I have to agree with you with that. Like, I fell off my bandwagon of reading for a while there. I was doing it consistently I almost hit like I would say 8 to 10 books a year. And then all of a sudden in the last couple of years of also being married to someone who doesn't read as much as I do. That became a little difficult too because then you're going to bed together and you're either talking, watching Netflix, or something else. And so, one thing for me was that, okay, I need to get back into reading. And so, I think right before the pandemic was when I had committed to doing 10 books and failed miserably, but I did do a lot of audibles that year. The thing was, I wasn't, my commute was only 7 minutes to work,
Oh,
so it
yeah.
wasn't working out. And then in the free time, I was getting into listening to podcasts a lot more too, because I was getting into like Crime Junkie and things like that. So then eventually, what ended up happening is that, sorry guys, Raman's face is so
Sorry,
funny.
guys. I just get
um,
people walking in sometimes, and then I have to make a face at them to leave.
So then eventually, like, I think when I was in COVID again, that's when I really started to focus on reading again and I made it part of my routine. So either before nighttime, I'll like sacrifice TV time now for reading because like I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like I need my escape. It's something that gets me tuned into a good book. And like when I think of summer is my favorite time to read because I love getting like a blanket, sitting outside and reading, or like being at the beach and just reading my book because it just like brings me so much calm and happiness. And that's another thing, guys. It's like a de-stressor too for you
Mhm.
if you have a stressful life and you don't want to. I know like a lot of people during the pandemic felt like they were Netflix and chilling a lot and they felt like they weren't really doing much with their life to like, better yourself or improve yourself. And that's when they started to get into more reading. I know a lot of people did. Another thing I think is a great way to read is like book clubs. Get a few girlfriends or
Mm.
guy friends and start a book club.
What was
And
that? What was that book called when we were younger? The Babysitters Club.
yeah, I
Every time
love
I
that.
hear of book club, I remember that one.
Yeah, and like, I think that's another great way to like get yourself started again if you want. And then you know, if you're like, well, if I want to read books, how do I find good ones? I find like, as for here in Canada, I think it's US too, Indigo. Chapters was taken over by Indigo, which was US. But, we have like Reese Witherspoon's top pick list, and she picks a
Mhm.
variety of things where she picks things from, what's in the culture right now, what's going on socially, and then also just good authors that are up and rising or already authors out there. So I usually tend to go towards her list because her list is great. She always releases a summer reading list. She releases 32. So I'm dying to know which people out there are reading 32 in 3 months because damn, you got it damn packed. I don't know if I could do that, but that's amazing. Now, you made a point about people talking about how they like opening a book and
Yeah.
actually like physically reading it. So I have this argument a lot with people. I'm someone who read my entire life, and the problem is like my parents want to kill me because now I have 3 boxes full of books that I read. Luckily, a lot of the books we were able to give to my younger little cousins, Anaya and Avi. And of course, Anaya loves reading, which I love seeing her do. So she's
Yeah.
really in tune with reading as well. So, she's gotten 2 boxes full of books, but then it's kind of like a waste. I don't have this big ass home to put a huge library in my home. Um, I don't
You can
read
keep
books.
them and you could. I know. And now it's people are moving away from reading physical books. And then you have those, what are they called? Kindle
Kobos,
pads?
and I bought one. Yeah,
Kobo? What?
I bought a Kobo. No, I bought a
Oh,
Kindle.
Kobo.
Kobo and Kindle. I think one's Amazon, one's like geared toward
One.
Indigo. It was expensive.
You hear that?
What is that?
It's like motor bicycles.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Sorry. Yeah.
I bought a Kindle, and I mean a Kobo. I bought a Kobo, and holy shit, was it expensive! And I finally invested in one because I'm like, where am I going to put all these books? I'm not someone who will read a book twice. That's one thing
Yeah.
I can't do. I think I have a pretty good memory. Once I'm into the book, I know exactly what happens. So I don't read books twice.
Yeah.
As good as they are, I won't, but I'll recommend them, and I always pass them over to friends and stuff. But I'm at the point where like I just don't have room for them, and I don't mind the Kobo, Kindle, whatever I have. I spent like $300 on it. It was a birthday gift to myself this year. And it's one of the best things I ever got because A, it's waterproof, and B, it's like, it's more improved too. It's bigger and more like easier to read.
Hmm.
And it has like this natural dim lighting to it. So at nighttime, I don't disturb my partner either when we're going to
Oh,
bed.
nice.
So I kind of like that as well, but I love that it's also waterproof because I'm someone who goes on vacation whenever that happens again. And I walk around the pool to get my steps while I'm reading. So I'm trying
Hmm.
to do 2 in 1, and it's
Is
always
this
like,
waterproof?
yeah, that's why I invested into it because it's waterproof and I love it. So I was like, because I used to be the girl who would walk around the pool and carry her book, okay,
Yeah.
and try to read, and that was too difficult because my book kept getting wet.
I'm
So
like the type of girl who would walk around the pool and carry her drink.
yeah, I got that somewhere too. Don't worry. So yeah, I truly think, yeah, it's personal preference, but with the economy, not the economy, but the environmental factor, we're like producing so many books at a time that like,
Hmm.
what do you do with books? I know in our culture, South Asian community, it's like bad luck to throw them out. So
Yeah.
what are you supposed to do? You can donate them because it's knowledge, but it's
They're
kind
not
of like,
even taking donation books right
I
now,
know
I think during COVID. So
they're not, and that's
I
the other
tried to
problem.
like donate my textbooks.
Me too. Me too. And I can't. They're still sitting upstairs, the HR ones. It's like, what
Yeah.
am I supposed to do? Right. So
And then
that's
I
what
feel bad throwing them out because it's like hundreds of dollars.
it is. And like, it's also bad luck, I think. So I don't know. Because, books are supposed to be knowledge or whatever. If you guys all
Mhm.
watch that show, Never Have I Ever, you see that like,
Oh,
she
when she
like,
throws the book out the
and then
window.
has to pray and say sorry. So yeah,
But
it's
books are
definitely,
knowledge. I like that sentence that you said. Books are knowledge. It's a way to expand your mind and learn new things, whether they're real or not real. It's always opening your mind up to new experiences. And I think that's great. I think people need something different from their everyday life. And it's good to read like the fantasy books and stuff like that. And then also the educational books. You know what books I really want to actually one day when I have like free time in my life? Those like, um, oh, they're like yellow and black and it's like how to do for dummies. Like,
Yeah.
they have like one of those, what are they called? It's like, I don't know,
Like
something about
a
dummies.
how
I know it
to.
has the word dummies in it, but I've always wanted to read a bunch of those books and just get like a whole bunch of random knowledge on things.
Well, we tried to create one ourselves, remember?
Yeah, we tried. We tried.
Yeah, that was a
But I mean, for me right now, I don't think I've ever, okay, you know what? I used to like um lovey-dovey books. Like those were the books that I would like to read because I wanted to like,
hopeless romantic.
escape to the Bollywood scene that's happening in my mind right now.
Yeah, I can't do lovey-dovey. So kudos to you for being a hopeless romantic. I'm
Not
more like,
anymore though. Not
oh,
anymore. That was
oh,
like, but when I used to read books, like that were just like, whether real or not real. But that's what I used to read. I used to like reading like,
that's cute.
Twilight. I,
Oh my.
like, yeah.
Were you a Harry Potter person?
You know what? Like I said, Harry Potter came out at a time where I was not into reading, and I just looked at the size of the book and I was like, no.
I
Like,
love Harry
no.
Potter.
I know
I
a
still
lot of
have the
people say they have
collection.
read like all the books, and I know Tim has, but I just I told you I was not into reading. Like I would look at the size of the book and be like, I don't know if I could do this. And it sucks because now I'm so into reading, but now like my time is so limited.
Yeah,
So I feel like at this point in my life, I'm really into like self growth books. And I
yeah,
just think it's because of the phase in my life that I'm going through right now. I don't think I'll spend the rest of my life like reading the same type of books, but right now, like that's what I'm really into. Like, how to improve myself, how to
yeah.
like, I'm actually reading a book right now that I don't really like too much the way it's written. So,
I hate when that
um,
happens, by the way. And then you're
yeah,
like, but I already paid for it. I already started it. I need to finish it. One thing about me is as much as I hate a lot of beginning of books, my goal is to finish it no
finish
matter
it.
what.
Yeah. So I have that like that OCD where because on your Audible, so I pay the monthly subscription. So it's about like almost
Me
close to
too.
15 bucks. So
Yeah.
I pay the
It's
monthly
worth it.
subscription. It's worth it. You get your credits and you get like I've never had to pay anything outside the subscription, so I think that's fine. But right now, I've been reading a lot of like Tim Ferriss, like David
Yeah.
Goggins, like like very like things that will motivate me to like push me to like work hard and do crazy things. So right now, I'm reading one that's called like the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, and I was like, oh, okay, like I need some like inspiration. Like, how can I wake up earlier? How can I like elevate my morning? But the way it's written like a storybook, which I
Yeah.
don't like. I like very like informational, like
I've
someone's
read that.
directly giving me information. And I don't really like it that much. And I really like I'm having such a hard time finishing it just because like I can't get into it. But I like it when it says finished. When I finish reading it, so I'm literally
You're
like, I
so
have to get through it. Yeah, it makes me
I
feel better when I go through my library and then it says finished. Like I
I've
like
read
that
that
feeling.
one. I read that one. My aunt actually recommended that one to
I
me.
do
And
not like it at
okay,
all. Like I
but do you
cannot
know
get into
what I
it.
took away from that one is that people who wake up at 5 a.m., they say if you can get 10 things done in your to-do list, you'll be less stressed for the day and you're already off
Yeah,
to a good start
it's
of your day.
basically about you know, like using your morning to kind of be productive. It's the most productive time of your day. It's before like you get distracted, before your brain starts to get tired.
Or
But
stress.
it's the way the book is written that I
I know.
don't like.
It was
It's
kind of
written
slowly.
like a storybook, and it's like I've gone through so many chapters, and I'm still like, when are we gonna get to the part where I start learning more? And even in the book, they're like the entrepreneur is questioning like, when are we gonna learn this method? And I'm like, bro, I'm wondering the same thing. When are we gonna learn this?
That is so funny. Yeah,
So,
I
I mean,
totally agree with you
that
there.
part sucks when you like start reading a book and you can't get into it. But I would recommend to everybody like if you can't get into it and you don't think it's going to be a useful book or you
Finish
don't
it.
like it, that's fine. Like start another book. I mean, if you have things like Audibles and if you have things like the Kindle where you can put your book on and you
Oh
can always
yeah.
go back to another day. But like, yeah, if you're physically buying a book, then that part kind of sucks because then you feel kind of obligated to
No, but
finish it.
even when I was buying and on Kindle, I always have more than one book going on at a time because it's also the
Mm,
kind of mood you're in. So I always balance my life in the sense that I'm going to read one for one for
luxury for leisure.
luxury, leisure, and then I'm also going to read one to help me. So whether it's self-healing or it's going to be routine or learning about someone else's life and how they accomplish
Mhm.
things, I always balance it out to do one or the other, right? To have purposeful reading and then other ones to take my mind off stuff. And I feel like you can start more than one book for sure because it's also going to be the mood you're in too.
Okay, I feel like I won't be able to do that because I'll just get too distracted.
Yeah,
So
because you
I
also
would do
do
one at a
audibles
time.
mainly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do one at a time because I don't want my brain to get confused. But
Okay.
I do, I mean, honestly, I recommend, I feel like wanting to be a reader is something actually everybody low key wants to do, but won't admit. Like, I hear so many people saying, like, I'm going to read a book or I'm going to do this, but they don't do it. Right.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's hard for even like me when I was in high school and didn't like reading. Like, I wish somebody told me about other methods that I could still enjoy reading, but in a different way. I don't think actually Audibles was like, is that old.
It's
But
not.
and
No.
it's not. But in this age, like in 2021, there are so many ways that people can enjoy reading if like the typical reading method is not their kind of like to go, or if that's not the one that motivates them.
The other thing that I love is that, when you used to walk through a store like Indigo, and I don't know
Mhm.
if you ever did this, but I always went with my aunts and we, as a growing up, like in my 13, 14s, and I think this is why I really liked reading because they made it a fun experience. We'd go to Starbucks, grab our drink, and then we'd walk through the aisles and look for books, sit there for a few hours, and then buy the one we
Mm.
really like. Now online, if you want to purchase a book either to your home or on Kindle or anything like that, they allow you to read the preview, which I
Yes,
think is great, or
I was
listen
gonna
to the
say that.
preview.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I think that's such an amazing marketing factor as well because it's like you're already in tune. So if you're listening or reading and you're like, damn, this is really good and you're already in, you're gonna purchase it. And the other thing is like it gives you an idea of kind of what to expect in the book and what you're looking for too, right?
And reviews.
Yeah,
You get
review.
to see reviews online, and that changes everything because
Everything.
I will actually read through reviews and see like what kind of people have read this and what they're saying about it. And you know what? About the 5 a.m. club, it only had a 4.5. So I did question it, but I decided to give it a chance anyways. So it
Yeah.
is kind of my fault because I'll try to go for something that's like a 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, like on the higher scale. But I love that A. Yeah, I will listen to the little preview because game changer.
Yeah.
And I will go through the reviews because like some of the reviews are like thousands of people. And that's like, to me, I'm like, if like it's a 4.9 and 5,000 people have read it, I'm like, yo, this is a good book. Like I need to read this book.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're a parent or anything like that out there too, it's monkey see, monkey do. So if you want your
Mhm.
child to naturally go towards books, which is great for English and developing English. Clearly, I don't have English skills today. But
It's early in the morning, guys.
yeah, it's like a great way to also have them replica what you're doing too and see that it's something fun to do. I don't think reading as we were growing up in schools have to be like a task that you have to
Mhm.
complete. I think it should be something for self-enjoyment and that either starts off by something you like reading, whether it be about, I don't know, cooking or trying to do something or traveling, anything like that, and
Mhm.
then getting to books that you're more intrigued with, right? Like Amit always goes for history, and I think that's so boring. He also goes for like a lot of like, self motivational books like yourself, and he's very much into that too. And or he goes into crime. Me, I'm
Mm.
straight rom-com, self-help of what I feel that month. Like, do I need help? Am I trying to figure something out about something or anything, Um, but yeah, like it just depends. But I really I'm not into like hardcore romance. I know you were saying that you used to read into that. I found those too sappy for me. I needed someone like trying to kill the other person sometimes, you know? Or I needed like, recently I'm reading this really good book. I like totally blanked out, but it's about the family upstairs and
Oh, I tried reading that.
it's so
I didn't
creepy.
like it.
Really?
Yeah, so okay, so the author of The Family Upstairs also has another book. What is it called? What is it called?
Gone
Um
the girl
but
gone.
and then she was gone.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
So
That
I
was
read,
really good.
okay, it was
I
too
liked it.
predictable.
Okay, it was, but you know what? She played it
Because
out
I
so really
like
well.
crime movies too, like crime books and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I did read Then She Was Gone, but I just felt like it was a little predictable. So it did not have like a aha ending. It was like obviously this is happening. And then I tried giving The Family Upstairs, and that's actually one that I did not finish, The Family Upstairs, because I don't know, I couldn't
It's
get into it.
slow.
And
It's really
I
slow.
it's really slow, it's really long. And
It's really
I couldn't get
annoying.
into it.
I have to
Yeah.
agree with you. It's really annoying, but it's also fucking creepy because it's like creeping me out because now I'm looking for a house and it's like I don't I don't want that. And I'm not gonna ruin it for anyone who may read
Yeah, I
it.
was gonna
It's
say.
yeah, like it's okay. I'm still working through it, but mind you, I've started another one on the side that I really like. It's like when people meet on vacation and it's like cute fun. And it's an easy read for sure. But another one I was gonna tell you was a lot of people been like talking about is if you're someone who's trying to get into reading, we recommend starting off small, explore on Google, go to your library. Reading can be also very free. It doesn't need to be very expensive to buy something. Lots of library cards out there. You can also find a lot of free books online as well to start off. And yeah, start off small and slow. If there was a movie you really liked, maybe read the book because the book and the movies always have a different ending. One book I want to recommend to Raman is Leanne Morante's books because that's one of my favorite thriller, unpredictable ones. And I'm someone who tries to predict a lot. So Raman, you need to give her a chance
I
because she's a
know it
great.
has to be a good like
You
ending.
have
'Cause
to read her.
I'm pissed at the author.
Okay, listen. If what's that show called? The HBC channel? No, HBO. You know how HBO always has some great shows? If
Mhm.
HBO went and took freaking Nicole Kidman and Reese Witherspoon and put a show based off her book, then you know the book's good. You
Okay,
have to
fine.
read it. Her
Okay,
books are
fine.
really good. I have to admit. And yeah,
Maybe I'll give that a try. And also, if you are someone who wants to get into reading and you're starting off and you're like, a book is too big of a project, maybe start off with articles, or maybe start off with like smaller books. Maybe like you're into poems. Every book does not have to be like some type of storybook. There's also books about poems. There's also books about like learning new skills. There's also cooking books. So you do have to find something that kind of works for you, and it is different for everybody. Don't feel like you have to be reading kind of the same thing that everybody else is reading. You can read what you kind of enjoy most. And yeah, like articles, learning things, just kind of keeping yourself like reading and educated and up to date with things also really helps.
yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more with you. So, friends, get out there and start reading or listening to books. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Raman and Alicia. If you're not already following us on Instagram, please do at Level Up with Raman and Alicia. If you have any book recommendations or you have any
Yeah.
questions or anything, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at ramanandalicia@gmail.com.
Thank you for thank you for listening, everyone. Now I can't speak. See? Have a
Morning
great day,
call.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.